This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 1584. How do your financial concerns compare to other people? And the need for financial education, both by Harry and Stout of financialverse.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. This is the show where I serenade you with the sweet sounds of personal finance knowledge from some of the best blogs on the planet. And just in case you didn't catch this in the Optimal Living Daily newsletter, I wanted to make sure that you know that we have a workbook available for purchase. The Optimal Living Daily Workbook is a 216-page hardcover workbook and journal designed to help you solidify your takeaways from your favorite episodes and create action items to move forward with your personal, relationship, and financial goals. It's available in the shop at oldpodcast.com. And I actually have 2 posts today, so let's get right to them and start optimizing your life. How do your financial concerns compare to other people? By Harry and Stout of financialverse.com. Each year, the results of the Insurance Barometer study are issued. I've followed this study for years, and I wait each year for the findings. The study is broad-based and tracks the financial perceptions, attitudes, and behaviors of consumers in the United States, with an emphasis on life insurance. In my opinion, it does a great job of discovering the financial attitudes and behaviors of adult consumers. The study is a joint effort of LIMRA, a non-for-profit research trade association, and Life Happens, a nonprofit educational organization. If you're interested, you can download a full copy of the study directly from the website of these organizations. LIMRA and Life Happens conducted the 2019 study by engaging an online panel to survey adult consumers who are financial decision makers in their households. The survey generated over 2,000 responses. As part of the study, a list of the top financial concerns is developed. These concerns were those marked by study participants as matters they were extremely or very concerned about. I believe you can get real insight as to what consumers are currently worrying about by looking at the list. Here are the top concerns for 2019. Having sufficient retirement savings, 24%. Paying for long-term care expenses, 11%. Avoiding investment losses, 10%. And paying for monthly bills, 10%. And then those under 10% include disability expenses, paying off credit card debt, paying for medical expenses, paying the mortgage or rent, covering education expenses for dependents, finding a way to replace their income to benefit their dependents, paying for final expenses, and leaving an inheritance for their heirs. Is saving for retirement your biggest concern? What about paying off debt? As you look at each of these concerns, you see items we frequently discuss in the Financial Verse books and Money Savers posts. These items all revolve around the basics of your financial life, from paying the mortgage or rent, covering medical-related costs, to protecting your family and loved ones from the impacts of an unplanned event. Let us know if you think this list of concerns is spot on or if it misses the mark. Summary. So how do you compare? Do your top financial concerns mirror those laid out in the study? We hope this makes you think about your key financial concerns, become more aware of them, and begin to get you to think about how you might want to address each to reduce your financial stress and anxiety. The Need for Financial Education by Harry and Stout of financialverse.com. Despite a booming economy, record corporate profits, a healthy stock market, 50-year lows of unemployment, and improving wages, most people are struggling financially. They are one missed paycheck away from financial oblivion. The Center for Financial Services Innovation says just that in a recently released report that was quoted in USA Today. The report concludes that only 28% of Americans can be considered financially healthy. It struck home to me as it summarizes what I've seen in my recent travels, reading, and experience in the financial services industry. The organization surveyed more than 5,000 Americans. Here are some of their findings. Nearly half said that their spending had equaled or exceeded their income in the last 12 months. 44% of those surveyed relied on credit cards to make ends meet. Only 45% have enough to cover 3 months of living expenses. 42% have no retirement savings, and 30% have more debt than is manageable. The report aims to give a fuller picture of financial health than typical studies. We tested dozens and dozens of indicators. Jennifer Tessner, CEO of Center for Financial Services Innovation, was quoted as saying, "Looking at something like annual income, for example, doesn't necessarily indicate whether someone can cover his or her expenses. If you're not really understanding how people are managing their money in a day-to-day kind of way, you're missing the whole picture," she said. I have seen the same financial reality that most Americans experience. My reading and research tells me the following about today's average American family's financial situation. About 80% of families live paycheck to paycheck. Over 60% of families would be in a financial panic if they needed to come up with $400 to cover an unexpected household bill, such as a medical cost, a major car repair, a house repair, or the unexpected costs of an accident. Consumer debt of all types is at historically high levels, with student loan debt increasing the fastest. The average family has less than $100,000 saved for their retirement that will likely be 20 to 30 years in length. The average family has less than 1 month of their annual cash expenses and savings. And a record number of individuals over age 65 are filing for bankruptcy protection. Why are families struggling so much in favorable times? I believe the root cause is that we have not educated people about what to expect in their life's financial journey and what financial decisions they will be called on to make. They simply do not know what to do or where to go to get the help they need. Given today's economic environment, the pace of technological change, and projections of what our economy will look like over the next few decades, we are rapidly moving to a point where more and more families are approaching the financial abyss. It will not take much of a push to put them over the edge. I strongly believe that we've not properly prepared people of all ages about how money is earned, spent, saved, and invested. And I'm not talking about the realities of the frequently mentioned 1% or how to become a millionaire overnight. I'm talking about attaining basic financial security for the majority of Americans, regardless of which identity group, race, religion, or demographic cohort they identify with or belong. The case for better education is abundantly clear from the financial distress most people are facing today. I know as my life progressed, I went from living in the without world to the reality of financial security and comfort that I longed for. It's time we got back to common sense basics because we've become detached from financial reality everywhere we look. You just listened to the post titled, "How Do Your Financial Concerns Compare to Other People?" and "The Need for Financial Education," both by Harry N. Stout of financialverse.com. When it comes to financial concerns, dependent on your circumstances, some of the things on this list may be more important to you than others. But I think we can agree that the way to address all of these concerns is to prioritize building a financial safety net so we're ready for the things life throws at us. This is counterintuitive because we're almost engineered to seek out immediate gratification. We don't want these concerns front and center all the time. But if we can recognize that the key to easing financial concerns lies in increasing the gap between our income and expenses, we'll be much more prepared for all the things on this list. I do recognize that for many people, financial education isn't enough. They really need to focus on increasing their income. Also, I don't think financial education is going to solve issues related to systemic poverty, for example. But for those of us that had to dig ourselves out of financial mistakes, we really could have benefited from some guidance on how money works and what you should do with it once you get your hands on it. I think the first thing we need to really grasp as a concept is the idea of living below our means and how important it is to save a portion of everything we earn. For me, I thought this was something that I could figure out later when I was making more money, and that caused me to dig myself even deeper into debt. And while the stats in this article might seem grim, I just want to reiterate that this is figure-outable, and the fact that you're here educating yourself about personal finance is a step in the right direction. I'll leave it there for today. That's a wrap for another Sunday show. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll be back tomorrow reading to you where your optimal life awaits.